morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio, so today we need to take a look at the best cards to pull from the pre-release for Paradox Rift, what are likely to be the most expensive cards from Paradox Rift. What we are not doing right now is sitting down and trying to list out the top 10 with values and all of that, because we've had 1 week of pre-releases, but the other week has still not happened yet. We've not seen listings on a bunch of websites like TCG Player. eBay sales are all over the place. This is not the right time to try and do a top 10 with value. Next week, when the set's out properly and the values are starting to stabilize a bit, we are absolutely going to do that video. But today, I think we know enough to be able to make a pretty good guess as to the 10 cards that are going to be the best ones to pull when you go to your pre-release. And, you know, just putting it out there, I did some early openings of Paradox Rift. I pulled 2 of these cards. Yay! Although apparently my list has 11 on it and I'm not changing it now and you can't make me. So starting off with trainer cards then, there is one which I know is going to be extremely popular, and that is Counter Catcher. Gold Counter Catcher is in this set, and this is going to be a very, 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 very big deal. It's a great card. It's disgusting on anything with only one condition. It is a fairly big condition. The condition is that you've got to be behind on prizes. But if you are behind on prizes, you just gust something. Oh, I should say a bunch of the images here came from eBay listings because we don't have official scans yet. And that is honestly the best way to get half of these images. So, yeah, some of them are going to be Japanese images, some of them are going to be eBay images, and a couple we've actually got official scans. We're doing what we can, ladies and gentlemen. But basically, it's a phenomenally playable card, but because it's just gusting, that's a good thing. And this is the fanciest, shiniest, nicest version of it. And it really is as simple as that. This is the best version of an extremely good card, and that means that a lot of people are going to want it. Simple as that. The other card like that is Reversal Energy. I know it's not really a trainer card, alright? I know it's an energy card, but it's the same kind of thing. Reversal Energy, I mean, look, it's basically exactly what I just said for Counter Catcher. It is a very, very playable card. It's been a staple in Gardevoir since it first came out. It's going to be played in a bunch of decks before we actually see it rotating. It's free energy when attached to an evolved non-EX if you're behind on prizes. Yes, I know that's quite a lot of ifs, buts, and maybes, but we know it works in Gardevoir. We know it's going to work in a bunch of other decks, and this is the fancy gold version of it. And it really is as simple as that. It is a fantastic version of a super playable card, and that really is all you need to know about this. That alone is going to make this a very, very, very popular card. Cool. Moving over into Pokemon then, we can basically split them into 4 different types of Pokemon. Starting off with Iron Hands, and I think we've got both the special illustration rare of Iron Hands, and I think we've got the full art coming in here as well. And this is the only one that I'm putting the full art on, incidentally. This is the only one of the 4 where I'm putting the full art on. And I think the full art needs to go on here because it is getting a lot more interest than the full arts of the other ones. Now, the special illustration rare, I mean, look, it's a very, very good, very playable card, and it is the special illustration rare thereof. That's a big deal. But also, what we've got here is just maybe the best card from the set. There is a very good argument that Iron Hands EX is the best card in the set. It's got the attack Amp You Very Much. Love the name of the attack, incidentally. And Amp You Very Much, what we're doing is we're doing 4 energy, 120. Not in and of itself a particularly phenomenal attack, I'll agree. But if you take a KO using Amp You Very Much, you get to take an extra prize. And when we've seen this since the beginning of the game, right? Taking extra prizes is good. There aren't that many cards out there that will let you take extra prizes, but there are some out there. And the ones that let you take extra prizes are always pretty good. The only time they're not good is when they're just too awkward to use. Sometimes, even though you can take extra prizes, just the mechanism through which you can do so, the speed of getting the Pokemon up is too awkward. You just can't make it work. That's not the case with Iron Hands EX. We've got stuff like Electric Generator, for instance, and there's a bunch of other things as well. You will be able to get this one up and rolling, and both the special illustration rare and full art versions of them are likely to be extremely popular. No gold version of this, so yeah. What we've got here is just a very, very cool card, which is going to see a lot of play, and there are two fancy versions of it, and they both need to go on the list. The special illustration rare is going to be higher, don't get me wrong, but make no mistake about it, these are both going to be very, very, very popular cards. And you know what? I've just cut the list back down to 10 again. I'm proud of myself. We're going to look at a trio of cards next. Oh yeah. We are going to look at the special illustration rares of Iron Valiant, Roaring Moon, and Garchomp EX. Because actually, all three of these cards fit a very similar pattern. Honestly, they're all pretty similar. What we've got here are popular Pokemon and the special illustration rares thereof that are looking like they're going to be kind of playable. Now, playability-wise, I think Roaring Moon is a leader in the clubhouse. I think Roaring Moon is going to be the best among them. I think Roaring Moon is a phenomenal card. For free energy, you get an instant KO on anything. Now, you do 200 to yourself, which is obviously awkward, but don't forget you got Emergency Jelly, which will heal up 120, which I know isn't, like, entirely, I get that, but that's still a decent amount of healing. That'll still get you a decent amount of the way there. And of course, don't forget that we still have Dark Patch that got a reprint in Astral Radiance, and that's going to help you get the energy that you need. There are other ways to get the energy as well. And this is a genuinely payable attack that gets an instant one-hit KO on anything. And yes, I completely understand that the jelly isn't a perfect plan, that you do a huge amount of damage to yourself, etc., etc. Instant one-hit KO on anything. Not to mention the fact that you've also got just free energy 220 if you discard a stadium. That ain't too shabby at all. This looks like a very, very, very good card. Iron Valiant, same kind of deal. Fantastic special illustration rare. It's a box legendary, so everybody loves it. And in here, it's mostly the ability, which lets you, when you get into the active, drop 2 damage counters. It's brilliant. Not to mention we got Future Boost Energy Capsule, a new stadium for future Pokemon, which will allow you to just have free retreat, which, you know, helps quite a bit as well. And then what we're looking at here is just a really, really, really good card, which is going to help a lot of decks do a lot of winning. It's awesome, ladies and gentlemen. It's awesome. And then finally we got the special illustration rare of Garchomp. And this, I mean, I love the Kato artwork on this, ladies and gentlemen. The Kato artwork is amazing. That makes me extremely happy. But then, in addition to that, it's just a really quite potentially playable card. For a single energy, you get to do 160 and attach free basic fighting from your discard party or bench Pokemon in any way you like. That is good for a single energy. Yes, Garchomp is a stage 2. That's a problem. I acknowledge that that is a problem. All right? We've said that now. We know it's a problem. But if you can get this dude up and rolling, this does a huge amount of good stuff. You've got really good damage. You've got good HP. You're accelerating energy to your other Pokemon. It's just one of those cards that, yes, it's a bit of effort to get on the field. I've acknowledged that. But once it's out there, it's awesome. Now, finishing off with supporter cards, I think we've got a pair of Mela cards here, and I think they both deserve to be in the top 10. I think we've got both a full art and a special illustration rare, and I think they're both going to be on the top 10 list. Could be wrong about this, but Mela's got that fantastic combination, which leads to very popular cards, of it's a popular character, Mela's really cool, and it's a very playable card. Mela is a very, very playable card. It allows you to attach a fire energy from your discard to one of your Pokemon and draw 2, you got 6 cards in hand. And yes, I'm fully aware that that's only after you've had a Pokemon KO'd the previous turn, so not every deck is going to be able to use this efficiently, and even the decks that can use it efficiently aren't necessarily going to be able to use it every turn. That's fine. That doesn't mean it's not going to see a bunch of play. That's not to say that a lot of decks aren't going to be able to use it very, very well indeed. And then, of course, you've got both the full art and the special illustration rare. Obviously, the special illustration rare here is better. Chilling with a Torkoal, that's amazing. But I think both of these are going to be very sought after cards that an awful lot of people are going to want. And I think Mela is going to be one of the stars of the set. And it's interesting because the Japanese set isn't out. Usually when I do videos like this, I can at least go well over in Japan if we look at the sets that make up the English set. Here's what we should be expecting. Can't even do that there. Now, Raging Surf is out in Japan, but Ancient, Raw, and Future Flash aren't. So I can't even really use those sets to give you a proper look at exactly what I'm expecting here. I don't really care, honestly. I really do think both Mela cards are going to make it onto our top 10 list. And then we finish off with Parasol Lady. Now, Parasol Lady is a card which is out in Japan. It is the star of Raging Surf. If you look at all the cards in Raging Surf, Parasol Lady is the top among them. It is the #1 card in the set. The special illustration rare I'm talking about. And it has got one of the best artworks I think we've seen in the Pokemon TCG. I mean, supporter cards, there are a few which I like personally, but I think in terms of just phenomenal artwork, I think this might be #1. I think this might legitimately be the best art we've seen on a supporter card, or at least very, very close to it. I think it is absolutely ridiculous. In terms of a card, it's fine. And this is fun because I pulled this card so I can actually use my card here. I can actually use my photo. And this is lovely. It's a shuffle draw 4. But on your first turn of the game going second, it turns into a shuffle draw 8. So basically you get one turn in the entire game in half your games where it's a really good draw card. I'm not claiming that's a phenomenal game-breaking card, alright? I'm not saying that because it's not. But I am saying it's a decent card which might see some play, and I'm saying that if you look at the redonkulous artwork here, that should be enough. Oh, and actually, you know what? I was so proud of myself for cutting my list down to 10. I'm going to have to raise it up to 12. I think we need to, just before we finish, I think we need to acknowledge Professor Sada's Vitality and Professor Turo's Scenario. And we can deal with these two together. They are both very similar cards. They are special illustration rares of the professors from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And they are both brilliant. I love that Professor Turo is the future dude chilling in a lab. I love that Professor Sada is the ancient professor sitting on some steps reading a book. It makes me very happy. But Professor Turo's Scenario lets you put a Pokemon into your hand. You discard all cards attached to it, but you can use it to reuse an ability. You can use it to save a Pokemon from being KO'd. It's a very, very, very good card. And then Professor Sada, you've got a just ridiculous card that lets you accelerate 2 energy to ancient Pokemon, which is actually really good. So yeah, I don't think we can end the video about talking about them, but hey, we have now talked about them, and that's it. I know I've gone through a dozen cards here. I'm going to bring you the top 10 in the not too distant future, and when I bring you the top 10 in the not too distant future, I'm going to be cutting 2 of these cards off the list. I've given you 12 cards in this video, and I've left all the gold cards out, and there's a decent chance that one or more of the gold cards actually sneak their way, I'm talking about gold Pokemon here, actually sneak their way onto this list. Maybe it's the full art Mela, which doesn't make the cut in the end. I don't know. It's going to be fun finding out, though, isn't it? For now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about it. I want to know which of these cards you pulled at your pre-release. I want to know which of these cards you're looking forward to pulling. I want to know anything you want to tell me. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wasi. That's where we talk Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. Oh, and get shoutouts on the channel like the lovely SWTV, who's been a support of ours for a little while now and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.